Technology is an integral part of our lives. We use it every day, and it extends our access to information through things we can't even see. With technology surrounding us and growing at such a fast rate, knowledge of how to use this resource and stay safe in the meantime is imperative. Welcome to CyberSafe News and Views, where we answer questions and share information to keep you in the know and cyber safe.
Hello and welcome to CyberSafe News and Views. My name is Lee and I'll be your guide. In today's episode, we're going to talk about data backups as well as the news. So let's get started. Hello. Data backups. We all have one, right? Our computers are never going to fail, right? Yeah, you're taking a chance. If you don't have a backup, your data is at risk. You're at risk. Whatever data you find valuable. Now, a lot of folks will use services like Sync, Dropbox, Box, OneDrive for that matter, whatever you have. Now, you have certain concerns with regulations, with compliance on some of those services. So you need to make sure you have the right level of service. If you are, for example, HIPAA based, you need to be HIPAA compliant. OneDrive has a HIPAA compliant version. Dropbox, HIPAA compliant version, which is all good. Do you really want to be storing your HIPAA data in the cloud? That's a topic for another discussion. You know, those services, great. They are generally backed up. But if something, OneDrive has other tools that you can use to back up their software. Services like Sync or Dropbox both have 30 days worth of storage that you can go back to. So if you lose a file, it's less than 30 days old because someone gets into your system, deletes everything out of Sync, then you can go back. If it's less than 30 days, you can go back and recover everything. Now, how did they get into your system? That's another topic that you need to go watch, multi-factor authentication. If you haven't seen that one based on security, you need to go back and watch that episode. We'll try and link that one up here in the corner. But theoretically, no one should be able to get into your files online because they're yours. You've got a nice password and you've got multi-factor authentication. But is that enough? What about your other files? Hey, files that don't go to Sync, files that maybe you have a database. Your software that you're using to run your small business has a database somewhere. Could be a free database, could be one you've paid for. Both would be irrelevant. Do I have all of that data? Or you could tell me that, hey, I bought this software program and I have a backup through them. Well, there is a very well-known in certain circles software program that you can buy their backup, but unless you buy 2 levels of backup, which is a file and a database, you don't have all of the files that you need. You also can't get access to them. We run a nice backup that I can run in the cloud on demand and just say, hey, I need to fire this up. I need a file off of there. If you don't have that capability, do you need it? Should you be backing your software up? If you're depending on a vendor, you need to be clear on what they provide. That's number one. If your software vendor does it and, hey, they're on the hook, congratulations. I approve. I like it. But if you have a Noah, as you've probably heard me before, if you know a guy and he does your backup, when's the last time that someone validated it? When's the last time someone checked on it even? Are you swapping the drives in and out? What happens if that computer gets hacked? Your backup gets hacked. So you've got some concerns. If you're taking responsibility for this, more power to you. As the small business owner, that's your right. That's your obligation, either to take care of it yourself or to get somebody else to do it. But to abdicate is just going to lose your data. I had happens to be a doctor that contacted me this last week and said, my hard drive crashed. What can you do? I'm like, I can't do anything. I referred them out to an outside source. They are still in the process of trying to get their data back. But that can end up being, if it's a doctor, it could end up being a HIPAA violation. You need to be concerned about the people that are looking at your hard drive. Did they sign your BAA, your business associate agreement? So realize I'm getting into some deeper level terms here and different things, and that's okay. But you have a responsibility to make sure your data is backed up somewhere that you take it off site. So if your office, your small business burns down, God forbid, you didn't lose all your data. Hey, I had a backup, but it was in the fire. You don't want that either. So the easiest way is to get that data backed up, get it backed up to the cloud. These aren't expensive offerings. This is something that you can do for reasonably dollars per day or less, just depending on what you do. But make sure you have all your data. Your business continuity, it's how you make money. You need to make sure that you can do your business if the worst happens, whether that's a hack or a failure of a hard drive or just your office burns down because somebody next door was crazy, or your building struck with lightning. You need to make sure you have all your data offsite backed up. So I hear it a lot. Hey, I've got a backup. And I always ask, are you sure? Because inevitably when it comes back down to it and we need to leverage that, they don't have a backup. So get somebody that can help you with this, research it yourself, get your files off to Sync, Dropbox, make sure you have the right compliance with that, and then move on from there. But get a valid backup. And most of those services will send you an email daily saying, hey, it was good today, and get one that validates it. Now, you're not going to get something from Sync or Dropbox, but they don't back up your entire machine. If you take something that does back up your entire machine, they're going to send you snapshots daily saying, hey, it was good. Things are right on track, or they're not. They're not healthy, and you need to pay attention to it. So do something with your backup. Either take care of it yourself or get somebody else that will. It's important. Holy cow. Has anyone been watching TV? Anyone tried to fly anywhere? CrowdStrike. That's probably the biggest one of the day. CrowdStrike, because of what they're trying to do, they're cloud cybersecurity software. They're trying to protect those local computers that are serving up data so that you can, hey, I need to check in for my flight. That's a computer that Delta, Southwest, United, American, they all have those computers that sit in the background. Well, CrowdStrike was sitting on those, and they got an update, and suddenly BSOD, blue screen of death. It's a long, well-known tradition in Windows that when blue screen of death happens, sometimes you're out of luck, or at least you need to boot into safe mode and take some corrective action. So leave me a comment. If you were affected by CrowdStrike, leave me a comment. There are other alternatives. It depends on your level of risk that you're willing to tolerate, honestly. CrowdStrike's a great program. I was an investor when planes started to not be able to leave because, and it was blamed on CrowdStrike. I quickly got out of that. But we don't use CrowdStrike. I like to use multiple different programs so that if one fails for whatever reason, I've got others over here. I've got others that are doing similar duties for me so that if one lets something through, the other one can say, hey, I see this activity and evaluate it. I like it. I don't like it. So I like to use a layered approach. CrowdStrike is really using one bit of software that does everything for you. It's a different way of looking at things. It's not necessarily bad. CrowdStrike's going to come back from this unless they get sued into oblivion. But they're going to come back from this and they're going to be better for it. I can tell you they've got a long, long way to go because from what I understand, how they integrate to Windows is really at a core layer, meaning as the machine boots, their software is in there. So, and why do they do that? Because if you do that, no one can get rid of you. A hacker couldn't go in and say, oh, uninstall CrowdStrike. Yeah, it's a wee bit harder than that. So understandable why they do that, but to have this level of just it blows up is completely unrealistic. So if you were affected, leave me a comment. We've got other programs that could help you and get, I'm sure you're back up and running by now, but other programs that you can run that, one, are cheaper, and two, use a layered approach. So for everyone not hiding under a rock the last 2-3 weeks, yeah, there you go. CrowdStrike, the biggest news article out there. Moving on, in another news article, hackers breach an ISP to poison software updates and malware with malware. So ISP, Internet Service Provider, if you're not familiar. So imagine you've got your office, you have your Internet Service Provider, you've got your modem, you've got a router in there, and it says, hey, you need to update. Automatically updates, and suddenly you've got malware. You have a problem. Absolutely unreal. ISPs need to be better at protecting their devices. And if you don't have something protecting your device, that could have easily come down to your computer, gotten your data, and then you're off to the races. What do they have? Do they have access to your machine? Can they see what you're doing actively, ongoing? Or did they mine all your data? Are they going to encrypt your hard drive and try to ransom you? It could go a number of different ways, but that one was interesting to me. And then we get into a cybersecurity firm accidentally hires a North Korean hacker. Truth is stranger than fiction. A cybersecurity firm hires a North Korean hacker. Absolutely unreal. He went through like 4 layers of interviews. And this goes back to other things. People say, well, when you're looking at a phish in your email, look for grammatic errors or the wrong use of words. That is so 2000. That doesn't happen anymore. This guy had a perfect headshot. He had perfect grammar. The CEO of the firm actually said he ticked all the boxes. It was perfect. He went through 4 layers of interviews. He got everything right. It turns out he's also happens to be a hacker. So absolutely unreal. Hard to believe that